Hi, I'm Scott Hamilton, back with another Floridian cannabis strain review. I've tried my first Delta-8 THC cart, and I want to talk about it. So if you listen to the last podcast, I have an MMJ card for Florida, which means I'm a medical marijuana patient. I have a recommendation from a doctor. I am treating high blood pressure, insomnia, anxiety, and things like that using various strains. I like flower, I like vaping, and I've had a fun time with it, but I was taking some time off, several weeks off. It was kind of to reset my things, check out some other things, and it's good every once in a while to take a break. So I kind of weaned down off my high THC level dispensary items and eventually just stopped. And I wanted something so I wouldn't have to just go cold turkey, so that's when I tried CBD flower, which I found quite delightful, actually. Flavorful, nice, mellow effects. Recommended in my last podcast that it would be great for someone who's starting to dip their toes into medical marijuana. Start with like CBD flower. You're not getting all of the psychoactive effects. You're not getting the paranoia, some of that stuff that could happen with certain high-end strains. And now as I'm ready to get back into it, I wanted to try Delta-8 THC. Now, I'm not a scientist, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a professional, but I have been dealing with cannabis my entire life, well over 3 decades, and very familiar with the effects of different strains. That's what I've been doing in the last year since I've had my Florida card, was experimenting with strains, finding things that I could use during the day to work, finding things I could use at night to relax and eventually go to sleep. Not always sativa during the day, not always indica at night. I found some hybrids to be good at either times, and I tried to find some things in the middle that are kind of good all around for the different ailments I'm trying to treat. So anyway, I had been reading about Delta-8 THC, and for someone with a card, most of us think that's not anything we really need to check out, much like CBD flower, when we can go out and quote-unquote get the real thing. But I was curious. I had read some very interesting reviews and just wanted to try for myself. And while I was starting to ramp back up into my normal THC high regiment, I wanted to try these while I was still kind of off, right? Now, Delta-8 THC, to give you a little background, and again, I'm not a scientist, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a professional, this is not a review, but I'm going to tell you what I know about it through my research. Delta-8 THC is very similar to Delta-9 THC, which you find in cannabis, that gives you the high on top of all of the other entourage effects with the CBD and the terpenes and such like that. Delta-8 is hemp derived, and therefore it kind of fell into the cracks on hemp and farm laws that were passed, which I understand the DEA is trying to get changed. So this, right now, I am reviewing a legal product you can buy online and have shipped just about anywhere in the country. You can buy it here in Florida, and I'll tell you where and when and why and that kind of thing, but that could change after I publish the strain review, so be aware of that. So, again, like with CBD flower, I know I can buy this stuff online cheaper, but I wanted to go to a local shop that would have more knowledge, where I could ask questions. And I went back to Mother Earth, the CBD store in Key Largo, and this time I got to chat with the husband, the owner. And I told him that I had tried the CBD flower, but now I wanted to do a vape cartridge of Delta-8 because I wanted to try the effects. And smoking the CBD flower was a little bit more harsh than smoking medical marijuana flower. It was still tasty, it was still good, and I liked the effects, but after smoking for a few weeks, it was like, I'd like to go back to a vape cartridge, a trustworthy vape cartridge. So he recommended the 3-Chi Delta-8 THC cartridge. I don't think it's chai. I would assume it's 3-Chi because that rhymes, and in martial arts we're trying to unlock the inner chi or power. But anyway, that's the brand I picked up. And on the front of it, it's a full milliliter, by the way. I didn't get a half cart. I got a full cart. It's 100% hemp derived, no cutting agents, cannabis derived, terpene infused, USA made, ice cream cake. Now, they have 20 or 30 different strains that you can order. And in the shop, he had over 20 of them. So it was a bit daunting. But he had gotten some literature from the company that was explaining the effects of the different strains. And I really was only going to buy one cart, and that's what I did. And I was looking for something for nighttime. It was more important to me to deal with insomnia and relaxing in the evening than it was trying to find something for the daytime, because I have quite a few things that I know that are great for that. So I wanted to experiment with these indica and indica blends. This is an indica hybrid ice cream cake. And on the reviews that they provided, descriptive terms were body high, relaxation, appetite stimulant, that kind of thing. I gotta tell you, I'm blown away by this thing. This thing is so potent, I can't use it during the day. It is as potent as most THC indica strains I've tried from dispensaries. I am blown away by the effects. So much so that I now know why the DEA is probably trying to get that rule changed. This is as strong as something you would buy from a dispensary. Now, that may not work for everybody, and again, I've gone with a several-week interval here with no THC, so, take that for what it's worth. But in trying it, since I picked it up at the beginning of the weekend, and trying it all weekend, it will definitely increase your appetite, without a doubt. I ate like a fiend all weekend and couldn't figure out why until I thought about it a little bit. More than a few hits will make me sleepy enough to go to sleep. It is more effective than some of the more expensive high THC strains I've tried from dispensaries, to be perfectly honest with you. I will have to get those and now do an A-B comparison, because even I am shocked that I'm saying that. But like, I woke up in the middle of the night last night and had to go to the restroom and deal with my dogs. And then it was like sometimes I have a hard time going back to sleep. So a couple puffs off my pen, I went right back to sleep. Didn't even think, not, boop, gone. It's very fast acting. The effects kind of come on. At first, it kind of felt like the CBD, but then I got the full buzz. And it, again, is a THC Delta-9 type experience. I was really shocked. Looking at the back of the card, this particular hybrid, this ice cream cake indica hybrid, is 95% Delta-8 THC oil and 5% cannabis-derived terpenes. At the bottom, it says, do not use if pregnant, nursing, or under 21, or legal age of consumption, may cause a positive drug test and intoxication. It's 100% hemp derived. It does contain less than 0.3% of Delta-9 THC, which is the law as it stands right now. And because this is hemp derived, it falls into the farm law that allows CBD to be sold nationwide. That may change in the future. I wish I had bought a different strain, and I planned to. He had a couple like Green Crack or Incredible Hulk that he said were quite energizing, and that would be interesting for daytime, but I also sometimes think sativas like that give me a little bit more anxiety, which I'm trying to relieve. And I'm going to start doing some strain reviews with medical marijuana from dispensaries coming up here in the next week or so, but I wanted to get a couple of these out of the way while I was offline, so to speak. And I got to say, if you want to try it, you can get a full milliliter cart for $25 to $35, depending on the strain, by mail order. It's going to be a bit more at the mom and pop shops, but still, your medical marijuana carts, a full gram, are upwards of $90 to $105 here in the state, and I can get a full gram of this for $25 to $35. That's a pretty huge difference in price. Now, again, there's going to be people that, well, this doesn't work the same for me. All strains are going to affect some people differently. If you try a little bit of this and a little bit of that, you'll start figuring out what works for you. And for a lot of people, the descriptors on the descriptions of the different strains are usually accurate, that this promotes appetite, that this promotes sleep, that kind of thing. But not always. Some people, like with sinus medicine, I know I was a kid, if it said it made you drowsy, I got wired, and if it said it made you wired, I got drowsy. Some people's body chemistry reacts differently to different meds. And that is the same thing with all the strains of cannabis. I have found some people that sativas ramp them up. Most people, sativas are a daytime thing and indicas are night, but that's not the case for everybody or every strain. So you have to try out what works for you. So there were a couple of nighttime body buzz kind of Delta-8 THC cartridges, and I went with Ice Cream Cake. I would buy this again to just have around. It's right now 100% legal. It's $35 for an entire milliliter, an entire gram. It makes sense, as like people that keep sleeping pills in their cabinet. The carts this one's good. Expiration date is September of 2021. It's clear. It's very tasty. It's easy on the throat. It's not much different. I actually can tell no difference between my normal THC Delta-9 carts I get from dispensaries. Not as much lung expansion, but it's there. I mean, and one of the reasons why I wanted to try this too is because, again, I'm looking for things that beginners can try as they get into this. And this is a great way to test out if you're going to like medical marijuana. You can go buy this legally right now. Do get a name brand. Do get it from a licensed dealer, that kind of thing, because you don't want cheap street carts. Trust me on that. It's just bad for you. But this is high-quality ingredients, 95% THC oil, and 5% cannabis-derived terpenes. There's nothing in here, no cutting agents or anything else. Tasty, very effective, more potent than I could imagine. I'm going to reach out to the company and see if we can get some other strains to try, because it would be expensive if I just went out and bought a bunch of these carts when I'd prefer to save my money for the real quote-unquote thing. But that being said, I think we need to do some reviews on this, because I know a lot of us are looking for other things. Sometimes if you keep using the same strains over and over, you can develop, a bit of a tolerance to them. And I tend to rotate through my strains. I find a few nighttime strains and a few daytime strains, and I will buy a couple carts. And then when they're gone, I switch, and I'll rotate those in and out so I don't build up a tolerance to any one strain. But there are a lot of people who just, I really love this strain. Well, there could be another one out there that can satisfy your needs, and why not try this kind of stuff? A warning here, it is THC. It is legally sold because it's hemp derived, but it can put you positive in a drug test, because most drug tests are just looking for THC, not Delta-8 or Delta-9. Delta-8 being legal, Delta-9 not being legal. So I'm telling you, stick with the CBD flower and stuff if you're having to take a drug test for anything. But if you want to experiment, you're not worried about it, and you want to experiment with Delta-8 THC, I highly recommend giving it a try, especially if you can find it on sale or getting a great deal. Like I said, I bought one cartridge locally. I'm now familiar with this brand. I can buy the brand online, and any of their strains, they're running $25 to $35. That's really cheap for one full milliliter cart. I highly recommend it. It'll be something that I keep in my medicine cabinet along with all the stuff I get from dispensaries, especially if you're running out of Rex for the month or the 2 months or whatever, and you need to supplement your regime. This stuff is great. I was really shocked by the level of effects, and I'm really shocked it's legal, to be perfectly honest with you. I caught a serious head and body buzz off this stuff, so much so that I would not operate a vehicle, and I would go to sleep. It was that good. I have to try a couple others to see if this is like a unique situation, or maybe just this strain hits me right, or is Delta-8 kind of a wonderful thing. So far, I'm leaning towards it's a wonderful thing. Anyway, I tried the 3Chi8 Delta-8 THC cartridge, and I really liked it, and you might like it too. Other brands, we'll have to check them out. I'm Scott Hamilton. Please check out FloridianCannabis.com. We post all the daily specials at all the dispensaries during the day. We're now going to be adding recommended doctors, CBD partners, things like that. Keep checking the site for more details. And thank you for listening.